You see all the van life photos, you watch all the van tours, but do you wonder what this nomadic lifestyle is all about? Are you curious about life on the road? Social media calls it #vanlife. We call it home. I'll ask 10 questions to get you the stories that you want to hear from the people who live, work, and travel and adventure in this nomadic lifestyle. Welcome to Life on the Road. Welcome to another episode of Life on the Road. We're asked 10 questions to get you the stories you want to hear about their life on the road. Welcome, Rich and Heather.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Sure.
We are, again, changing up the environment in the shot a little bit. Normally it's in front of a rig, but we are in a pretty unique location.
Yeah.
And this was worthy of doing the interview in front
A
of.
little
Chilly. I mean,
Yeah, but the
It's
2,000-foot cliff, so.
but a 2,000-foot drop behind us is, it's
Pretty
a nice
dramatic.
view.
It's
Yeah.
extreme.
It's extreme.
Yes.
It's very nice. As we always do, and I always start, tell us your name, tell us how long you've been on the road, and where you're from.
Okay. I'm Heather. This is Rich. We are, I'm originally from Florida.
I'm from
you
Buffalo,
know.
New York.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
but we were married 26 years.
Amazing.
And what was the other stuff?
How long have you guys been on the road?
Oh, January 2020.
Yeah, so I'll be 3 years in January.
3
Yeah.
years in January.
Yeah.
Although, we don't really count that first year because
Okay.
of the COVID stuff showed up 2 months later, and then everybody had to kind of
Yeah.
quarantine down a little bit.
But you were in the van though,
Yeah, most of the time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
most of the time.
so it counts.
we
We
were
did
in
have
the
some
van.
apartment stuff when they shut everything down.
Right.
And, you couldn't go to the
Yeah.
parks and everything for
Right.
a
We
while.
sold our house,
Right.
Yep.
and then we sent the last kid off to college.
Right.
And then he called and said, they're closing college.
Now what?
And we're like, too
Where am I
bad,
supposed
so
to
sad.
go? Yeah, where am I supposed to go? So, yeah,
Exactly.
we rented an apartment for a little while for him. And
Yeah, and we
get-
hunkered
get
down with
through
him for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we did that. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, we're probably, anywhere from 7 to 10 months.
Yeah.
We're able to get each year, and we stop for visit family here and there
Yeah.
and stay inside.
Of
so.
course. I mean, I consider that completely nomadic travel, no
Yeah,
matter what.
yeah.
You guys aren't necessarily in a dedicated space, one spot,
Yeah.
Right.
and still kind of moving around and doing stuff. So, yeah, a lot of people on the show have been, backpacking for years and
Yeah.
traveling in cars for years. I mean, Chris is, 6 different vehicles and
Yeah.
all over the country.
Right,
and-
right.
We're
So-
only doing one vehicle.
exactly.
We're
yeah.
not going to be one of those people that
Yeah.
keeps
Yes.
doing visit vehicles.
Yeah. No. So, okay, perfect. And then you said married for how long?
26.
Yeah, 26 years. We've known each other for 30.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys meet?
The Pizza Hut in Florida.
Pizza.
He was my boss.
Yeah, we worked together. It was very scandalous.
Amazing.
It was.
Scandalous.
It was.
Yeah, we were 19 when we met. We just worked together and
That's
hit
incredible.
it off.
Yeah.
How'd you get from Buffalo, New York to Florida?
It's a lot warmer down there.
Yeah.
Well, I left. Didn't have any college plans when I got out of high school, so I just me and some friends got in the car and drove to Florida to party. We quickly ran out of money about a week, and I had to get a job at Pizza Hut.
There you
so
go.
That's
The rest is
it.
history.
The rest is history.
I
right?
love it.
Yep.
All right. We'll start the 10 questions. Time to learn about your guys' life on the road. Question 1. What was the beginning moment, cause, or inspiration to live your life on the road?
Do you remember this?
Yeah, it was the tiny house thing on Netflix.
Some documentary we watched.
Okay.
I think it was called Tiny, actually.
Tiny?
Yeah, and it was about
Okay.
a person in. That was right after the, about 5 years after the crash, of the housing crash
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are talking about how that forced them into small living, And at
Yeah.
the time, we had we lived in Houston, Texas. At the time, we had a 4-bedroom house and a pool and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and knew that when the kids move out, we don't need all that,
Right.
right? So we started
We
to
didn't need
think,
it then.
yeah, we started thinking about minimalism a lot more,
Yeah.
and all that, and then, I'm in sales position where I used to travel 3 weeks a month anyways.
Okay.
Go to the airport, fly to a city,
Right.
rent a car,
Right.
and visit customers all around that city.
Sure.
And so once I saw that, I kind of had the idea, well, we could get a tiny house and tow it behind a car, and I could do that instead of flying, and you
Yeah.
could come with me,
Yeah.
and I got a spreadsheet out and did the math, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I can get reimbursed for some mileage, we get some hotel rooms paid for, we could really kind of do that.
Yeah.
Rich is the spreadsheet king.
Yeah, so I
Yes.
did a lot of spreadsheets.
But this would have been pretty early. Are you talking 2017, 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's before like van life kind of became super
Oh, yeah.
popular.
Well, we were
Right.
talking van life. We were
Yeah,
talking
just
tiny
tiny
house.
house.
Tiny
And that's
house.
why I wasn't sold. Because
Yeah.
I was like, we're not going to tow something, to this meeting at 2 o'clock and then this meeting at 5 o'clock. Like, that's
Yeah,
not
because
realistic.
we weren't talking about a tiny. We're talking about one of those like 30
Big
foot
time.
long.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
a 3/4 ton pickup to pull
Two
it.
lofts and a
Yeah.
Exactly.
kitchen,
And
laundry
she's like, you're not
room.
moving that around. And then,
Yeah.
she was on Pinterest one day. She goes, look at this van. And I think it was like Barefoot Theories.
It was
Yeah.
Barefoot Theory.
Amazing.
And, had a couch in
first
the
van.
front.
The first
it was
one, yeah,
wide
yeah.
open and things like that. And we're
Yep.
like, and then that surprised me because, again, we were talking huge tiny homes. And then you said a van. And that solved a lot of problems. Now
Yeah.
you don't have to have a truck.
Yep.
And, and you can park it anywhere.
Yep.
And,
So you thought it was all about size.
And
yes, yes.
Size
Well,
doesn't matter.
it's still about size a little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll
Yeah.
get to
We
the
will.
rig in
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
it's definitely sizable. So okay. And you said now though full time on the road once the van's been built, you've been about 3 years.
Yeah, about
coming
3
up on
years.
Coming up
Yeah.
on it, yeah.
And even though it started out kind of like as a work scheme to
Yeah.
kind of get out, it's turning into because I don't really see customers much anymore, so
Right.
I'm a remote worker. But now it's kind of like an early retirement tool.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are
You know.
we going that direction to where you're now just traveling and
Right.
enjoying
We're able to save a
yourselves.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Having a salary and be able to sock that away. When we owned the house, we had a lot of debt.
Yeah.
you
My
know?
entire salary was going
to pay for the house.
take care of the house and the kids and what they had to do.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize that because we still, going on the road, we were freaking out about how are we going to do this on one salary. Because
Sure.
I couldn't do my job on the road.
Right. Okay.
And it's been amazing. We're actually saving
Yeah.
money on one and still kind of have one kid on the books a
Right,
little
right.
bit too.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
not quite out the door yet.
No.
Not
quite,
quite,
quite.
not quite.
Working that way.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Question number 2. What has been your experience with other nomadic travelers while living your life on the road?
It's been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
I mean, we've met so many different people.
Yeah.
And we're around 50
Sure.
ish. And
Some over, some under.
but we go to a lot of meetups that tend to be organized by younger people and,
Yeah.
and things like that. So we've really made a lot of friends with younger people.
Yeah.
A lot of long-term friendships, I think, that really it's brought it out of this. So that's what I see about it. So
Yeah.
it's really about just getting out of our comfort zone, people our own age, meeting other people.
Yeah.
And then we're also making an effort to meet more people our age, and we're starting to do that as well.
Sure.
So it's nice to have people in different states and different areas
Yep.
that you can meet up with. And,
Yep.
we spend probably half our time with just us.
Right.
And probably the other half is either with one other person or a convoy or,
Right.
or at a festival.
Yeah.
you
But
know.
we've definitely adopted family on the road. We have certain people that we are talking to at least once a week and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stuff. But last year we were sitting around a fire and we had somebody from every generation represented.
It's amazing.
And that was amazing.
Yeah.
And we were with them for about a month.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's incredible.
yeah.
And you referenced van meetups. It gets talked about a lot on this show. What meetups specifically, or do you like ones that you've enjoyed, ones that you are maybe not so much of?
Have we been to any that we didn't like?
Yeah, I think we liked them all
Okay.
so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been everything from the real big, like Schoolie Palooza size and Descend for the
Descend.
first time this
Yep.
year. And we enjoyed those, and we also enjoy the small, intimate ones with like 10 people,
Yeah.
and as well.
Good Vibe Collective, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's where we started, and
Okay.
that's where we've made a lot of our family, so
Right.
to speak.
Matt
from-
and Chris and the Good Vibe.
Yeah,
Collective.
from
Chris,
those. Yeah,
yeah.
we've probably been to 5 or 6 of those, and that's
Yeah.
probably where we met most of the people.
Okay.
And where we continue to meet up. Van Pride was amazing last year.
Okay.
That's probably where we met most of the people that, like I said, we talk to still every week
Yeah.
now. And
That's amazing.
Yeah.
we just spent Thanksgiving have to say Thanksgiving with
Not Vansgiving.
with Van family
Yeah,
too, and it
yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah,
So
we had some friends that weren't with their family. They came and they met our family. We had dinner together.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
it was
Yeah.
nice.
That's
yeah.
very incredible. Yeah, and I mean, we met at Descend, and then via the Good Vibes Collective, who we all went into Descend with as a group.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a small group into a very large gathering, and you know, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it is. You know, van meetups oftentimes, maybe throughout this show, seem to be the connector to a lot of friends and a lot of friendships as you're starting to travel. You know, you'll keep in touch with those people and maybe have your own little van meetups as you travel, but van meetups tend to be the kind of the overarching kind of connectors
Well, I think
throughout the summer months.
I mean, to us, community is so important, and I
Yeah.
think if you are going into this lifestyle just expecting to just hang out in beautiful spots and be fine with that, it's not enough.
Yeah,
Like
it's true.
You got to meet new people, and plus it changes your perspective on life to see new perspectives.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and we love it.
Yeah, no, and that is another thing that gets talked about a lot. Is this community's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, the people that you meet, you know, from every different background, from every different, you know, ethnicity to every different socioeconomic kind of status.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then everybody has a different rig. You know, they're traveling all very differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's truly, and two, the other thing I'd like to, you know, that I think that doesn't get talked a lot about is just how gracious everybody is. You know, we talk a lot about you're going to need help at some point. No matter what. I don't
Yes.
care what rig you have, you're going to need help.
Yes.
And reaching out to this community, somebody is going to be there to help you.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
definitely been our experience.
Yeah. It's just pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 3. What has been your biggest failure and what has been your biggest triumph while living on the road?
Okay. Can I take the failure?
Sure.
Okay, so last year we were coming off of a bunch of meetups with people, and luckily we had, like I said, collected the family.
Yeah.
And Rich decided I'm going to play pickleball every day with everybody, and then tore his Achilles tendon,
Oh,
and of course it was his right foot.
oh no.
And I
Some driving
failed.
issues.
Yes.
I have failed to drive the van and be comfortable with the van.
Okay.
Until that point when I absolutely
You had to
drive the
Yeah.
van. Yeah.
That I get it.
Yeah.
So-
And he warned me. He
Yeah,
told me.
yeah.
I mean, you didn't really foresee tearing your Achilles being the
No.
issue, but
That was a big deal because I had to have surgery. I was
Yeah.
in a cast, you know, for about a month.
yeah.
And then a boot after that,
Yeah.
and physical
Yeah.
therapy and all that stuff. So it was pretty traumatic
For
the
sure.
year. But we had, you know, people come together and help us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they helped Heather, you
Yeah.
know, move the van around, do
They
some
built me up
utilities.
like you wouldn't believe. And I mean, my van daughter, shout out to Bridget, my van daughter, helped me do the toilet
Dump the toilet.
for
yeah.
the first time.
Amazing.
It was fun.
Maybe
Yeah, it
maybe
was.
this will become a part of question number 8, I imagine. So which is awesome.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, it's especially you guys have a very large rig. So
Yeah.
you know, for somebody that hasn't driven the van, that could have been intimidating for
It was
sure.
super intimidating.
I bet.
Because I had to drive to the ER in Phoenix,
Yeah.
and then he had surgery.
Yeah.
in-
So you're in a city.
California.
It's not like you're out in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
That was fun.
Biggest failure. What has been the biggest triumph?
Jeez.
I think the biggest triumph is that we said we could do it, and everybody said we were crazy, and then we're doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we don't even want to be off the. I'm taking all the answers.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
That's a good answer though.
No, that is a good one. You know, it's just we get a lot of questions because people our age usually don't do this unless
Yeah.
you're fully retired and
Right.
stuff. So
Right.
it's kind of neat because a lot of people have a lot of questions, and then you know you get a lot of you're lucky you can do this,
Yeah.
or you know a lot of people want to do this but don't do it.
Right.
You know, we were talking to someone yesterday about that. So I think that that's the big triumph is actually getting out there. You know, 'cause especially if you're self-building.
Yep.
You know, it's a big daunting task to get it right
Yep.
and keep things running on the road, and some people really struggle with that. You know,
For sure.
they're machines keep breaking and they keep having all these problems, and
Yeah.
it's frustrating. So the triumph is kind of like overcoming that and making sure that you can get around safely and you have what you need.
Yeah, for sure. And again, that gets talked about a lot on this show is, older vehicles and breaking down and those issues. But more often than not, those individuals are still going. They're still doing it. They still love this lifestyle. And that is, a triumph in amongst itself is just, being persistent and staying with it.
Yeah.
And then also we talk a lot about just taking that first step, just starting, and honestly, it's why I've started the show. Because when I built Althea and then got in the van day one, I was like, well, now what do I do? I knew everything about building and organizing and designing the van, but then it was like, oh, now I got to go figure out what this whole lifestyle is all about.
Sure.
I think we were lucky in that we had kind of already found some community before we got on the road.
That is definitely a blessing.
Because we were waiting for the last kid to go off.
Right.
And we had met Matt, and we had already gone to a couple meetups and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Plus following people on Instagram for 2 years and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of you already know what to expect and doing what to do and not do. So the community there on Instagram, especially in Pinterest and things like that, or in the YouTube channels as well.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It definitely helps it. We'll get to a question as to what you think of that versus your reality, for sure. But okay, so this one's an obvious question for you guys. Did you start your life on the road as a couple, and what is it like living on the road as a couple?
Yeah.
Is it really much different?
No, I mean, we had, they're almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Or, 27 years of living together already, so yeah, it's the challenges of being in a tighter space and being together all the time.
Yeah.
But we were together all the time anyway.
We were. But I mean, we had 9 to 5s too, so we really weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, we were together. So when you do get into a van, it is a lot more, even if you're used to living with someone already.
Sure.
So I'm sure it's super challenging.
Yeah.
And especially when things don't go well, or there's a lot of monetary worries, and I can imagine that's tough.
Yeah.
Things like that.
My only problem with small spaces is gas.
Not
Sure.
fuel. We're not talking about diesel
No.
fuel.
No, you do have to leave. Give some privacy,
Yes.
let people do their business.
Yeah, of course.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we do that, and good ventilation helps too.
Good ventilation.
Exactly.
Ventilation.
Max air fan.
Yeah, lots of
Yes.
fans.
Yep.
And that works.
Definitely a bonus.
That's tough, but yeah, I think, it's a true test for any couple.
Yeah.
So if you're able to get through that, and it also helps to have a common goal as well, right?
Yeah.
If you're just traveling together for fun and stuff, I think that's a little bit lighthearted.
Yep.
But if you are spending the rest of your life with this person, and you have a plan, this is kind of a step towards that plan.
Yeah, of course.
You guys can talk about it. You have plenty of time to talk about it and
Yeah.
come up with these plans together.
Well, and I think too, both of you having the desire to do this has to be there. Like if one was kind of, you were iffy at one
Well,
point.
like I was with the tiny.
The tiny house, yeah.
And then when I brought him the van life thing, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But I mean, my number one goal was not to work.
Yeah.
And it was stressful. Every
Sure.
day I wasn't living for what I wanted to live for. So this has given me that.
That freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that I think then, kind of perpetuates the dream of you guys doing it together. Like we're moving in the right direction in terms of what we both want, and therefore, kind of the holistic view of our life is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
At that point.
It is. I think that for me, like I tend to be like a worst case scenario girl. And so
Okay.
like not knowing where I'm sleeping one night
Yeah.
in the beginning was really
Stressful.
hard for me.
Yeah.
But now we don't even think twice about it.
Yeah. And I think that's part of, and again, we'll kind of talk about it a little bit in terms of like what you have to learn when you start on the road.
Yeah.
Dealing with that anxiety because, and we talk about it a lot. It's not all the rainbows and butterflies as you see on Instagram. There's some anxiety and there's some stress that comes along with living on the road.
Yeah.
Parking at night, water, fuel, food, all that type of stuff is an issue.
Yeah.
Laundry, all those things.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't come with just a, beautiful view every single day, every single night. So there are some things you got to work through.
Absolutely.
So, Question number 5, which they asked if they could just do this real quick right here because it would have been a beautiful
Oh, yeah.
view. What is the best place or craziest place you've had sex during your life on the road?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, after being together as long as we've been together, we've been there and done all that.
Yeah, there's
right?
lots of
Let's say.
places.
Yeah,
They're
so
everywhere.
everywhere is kind of an adventure, and for us maybe.
Is there one location that that sticks out in your mind that you woke up in the van, coffee in the morning, and you're like, shit, this is beautiful?
Yeah.
God,
I think Big Bend, one of the first
that
trips we
just
took.
crossed my mind. I can't believe you said
Yeah,
that.
because we were just in the middle of nowhere. It was like, everything was open. There was no people around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in the van, but it was still.
Now it's more about
beautiful.
dirty sex. You know, like
Yeah.
7 days no shower. Can you do it?
Yeah, that's
You
it.
know?
That's extreme
Oh,
sex now.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It has nothing to do with the location. It's
Yeah.
more about like, do you really smell this bad?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what about last month in our daughter's bed? Should we edit that out?
No, that will 100% get in there for sure. That actually might
Okay.
make the clip for the
Yeah.
preview for sure.
But needless to say, we're experts by now, so
Yes.
we've done it all.
It's
Oh,
been
yeah.
all over.
Yeah.
I get it completely. Question number 6. How do you make money while living your life on the road? You don't make any.
I have a salary as
Yeah.
a business development manager and kind of a sales sales position. So it's just it's a remote job, a 9 to 5. I do have to be available.
Okay.
Be on the phone. I do have to travel and fly places sometimes to
Okay.
visit customers, go to meetings and trade shows and things like that.
Okay.
So,
Very rarely
yeah.
now.
But really with the pandemic, that's become the remote working. A lot more people that I work with are remote now.
Right.
It was kind of a remote position to start with. So
Right.
if I give any advice to people, young sales professionals that already travel a lot and do things like that, your company normally doesn't care where you live and where
Correct.
you stay. You just need to be close to where your customers are
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
so with that, we were able to save a lot of money, into our retirement account, and
Sure.
we're able to max out our retirement accounts and put money away for kind of an early retirement as well. And we do have a small mortgage still on a condo that our son lives in.
Right,
So,
right.
He pays
Yeah.
us for
and that's
it.
so we were able to still do that. Otherwise, we could save even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the pieces of advice with, young people that I come across on the road that I tell all the time too is, do you have a brokerage account? If
Yeah.
not, let's start one. It's, that's, I don't have many regrets in my life, and that might be one, not starting in my 20s
Yeah.
doing that.
Well, they don't teach you that on purpose.
It's
So.
very true, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
one of those things where even at Descend, meeting a couple, 20-year-olds and just telling them $20, $30, $100 if you can a month, just put
Yeah.
it away and just don't ever think about it again.
Yeah.
Because when you turn 50, you'll be really glad you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a little unique because we're in late part of capitalism for
Yeah.
our arc, right?
Yeah.
We already had kind of a 401k savings account and
Yeah.
all that. So, but yeah, for people who are younger, who are starting out, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to really hustle, but you really do need to save. And
Yeah.
we've met a lot of people that do the FIRE movement.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're financially independent, retire early, and
Mm-hmm.
so they really work hard for 5-10 years and live on ramen noodles and
Yeah.
But it
sock
takes
it
a
all
lot
away.
of it takes a lot of privilege to be able to do that.
For
so.
sure.
And we, like I said, we knew what we were doing. Once we could do it, we were doing it,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
had decent jobs. And
Yeah.
and they make it today where they can't do that.
Yeah.
They can't save, and I totally see that, and
Yep.
I feel for them, and
Yep.
I totally get why this lifestyle might be more.
Yeah, but getting rid of debt's
More
important.
appealing.
So if you can
Yeah.
sell everything you own and get into a van,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not cheap. Living in a van is as cheap as a lot of people think.
Right.
It just depends how much you move and what kind of spending you have. But
Yeah.
I think I think I'm proud of a lot of people that I see that really hustle
Mm-hmm.
and are able to do this life, even though they may not have a salaried job or something
Right.
like we do. We
Yep.
have a little bit of a cushion.
And
For
we're
sure.
super thrifty. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, it's important, and again, I'm kind of doing it backwards as well. I worked most of my career and saved and invested, and then, could kind of afford to build the rig that I wanted to build, and then really kind of do this the way I wanted to. And,
Yep.
but the beauty of this lifestyle is you see it from one end of the spectrum to the other. And,
Yeah.
everybody's kind of in the same boat and doing the same thing. And, if we can share this knowledge and these pieces of advice along the way, it's it's a great thing. So
Yeah.
again, one of the reasons why I'm doing this show is just to get more information out there, about how people live
Right.
and how people
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah, we could comment too that, I mean, we've become more anti-capitalist. You really see the flaws of the system.
Sure.
You're expected to work and be productive and all this, and
Yeah.
and this is one way to get around that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is to kind of
Limit
hack the system, and
Yeah.
you still have to struggle to get health care and all those things. And,
For sure.
But hopefully over the years that'll change in America. As more
Be great.
people are pushing for that.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that's probably
But
one of the nicest things about van life.
But the
is you're able to
concept
do
of
that.
not having to sit behind a desk and grind 9 to 5 for
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a great thing,
Yeah.
and finding creative ways to make money, whether it's, there's just so many different ways you can do it.
I think
you know?
we'll all be living on mutual aid anyway. So build your community, folks.
That's
Yeah.
right,
So
exactly.
it's fine.
That's right. Question number 7. What is your vehicle? Who built it? And why did you choose it to live a life on the road?
Want me to take this one?
Yeah.
So we have a 2017 4x4 Sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
We selected that vehicle because
It's the 170. Is it extended? Or
No.
just the
it's
170?
It's 170.
170.
Normal
Wheelbase.
high roof and normal wheelbase.
Yep.
Yeah. We took that and we built it out ourselves.
Okay.
So at the time we had a house with a garage and a driveway, and we had a year and a half to build it.
Okay.
And we built it in about a year.
Nice.
So we just worked on the weekends.
Yeah.
Heather and I did it, and so it's just a lot of cut up wood and put in a nice way.
Yeah.
We painted it white inside. Despite a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
I'm a
against
little
that.
claustrophobic, so
Yeah.
it had
The
to be
white
light.
helps.
And we had to be able to walk through the whole thing.
Yep.
So like our bed's in front, a little different than
Yep.
most probably.
Yeah, so we have a galley kitchen in the back, and then the bed in front. So we have a real small garage. We don't have a lot of toys.
Right.
We do have a bike that we have on a bike rack outside now,
Outside.
but everything else is pretty packed away. So it's pretty compact and I guess a real tidy kind of van.
Yeah.
And that's what we ended up using.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And again, it was designed from Barefoot Theory's first van.
First van. Okay.
That was the layout I wanted from the beginning.
Okay.
So that's
What you saw on Pinterest when you took that to Rich and said,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah.
this is what I want."
Yeah, and then Barefoot Theory, they went and got another van.
Yeah.
And I was like,
They've got
this was the perfect van.
Yep.
Talk about getting the van, and so this would have been what, 2018?
Oh, that was interesting.
17?
Yeah, end of 2017.
2017?
Yeah,
Okay.
so at the time there was a kind of a shortage on 4x4s.
Yeah.
In the U.S., so we were calling all around every state, every major dealer. We finally found one in Los Angeles.
Okay.
At the time I was living in
You were
Houston,
in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ordered one, and then
we called to check on
Did
it.
you buy it new or used?
a
Used
a
one?
new one. I'm sorry, a new one.
one.
Yeah,
So
a
it was
new one.
being shipped over.
Okay.
So we called to check on it, and the salesman's like, I don't know what's going on. I can't find your order. And
So they got canceled by Mercedes somehow.
Oh no.
because of the emissions stuff going
yeah.
on.
And then a week
the
later, he
diesel
called back
stuff,
and
yeah.
said, "Hey, we have one that's unaccounted for. That's pretty close to what you got." So,
Okay.
we ordered a white van, wanted to be all stealthy because that was the thing at the time.
Yep.
That's not a thing anymore.
Not a thing anymore.
But now we're stealthy at night.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
a bluish kind of
Yeah.
color
Exactly.
van, and it kind of blends in nice, and we're real happy with it. It didn't have windows, so we had to put all the windows in.
Yep.
But I got
We had-
heated seats.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I got heated seats out of the deal. So,
Nice.
yeah, so that's how we got the van, and then I ended up flying into Las Vegas to pick it up, and they drove it out to Vegas. We signed the
Amazing.
paperwork, and
Nice.
I drove it back.
He drove it all the way to Texas with no plates.
No
on it.
license plates. Do
All
a
through
border
the checkpoints
checkpoint
and
and
everything.
everything.
And they didn't even stop.
yeah,
Like,
I guess so.
It was
That's-
interesting.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we have a kindred spirits in
Yes,
Althea
very
and
similar
Green
bands.
I love
Ursula.
It. The Ursula. I
Yes.
love it. Althea and Ursula.
Yes.
The blue-gray sprinters.
Mhm.
It's the best. Question number 8. What is your best bathroom, number 1, or number 2 story from Life on the Road?
Well, I call it my bitchin'
Your
because it's my
bitchin'.
bathroom and my kitchen. You see.
You're bitching. It's awesome.
Where were we when that first happened to me? We were camping somewhere, Colorado or
yeah,
something.
like a stomach virus.
Oh,
That got
no.
kind of scary.
Got kind of
Got
hairy.
kinda
So that was
scary.
that's your worst number 2 story. I
Yep.
would
Yeah,
say.
but then
So wait, do we have a cassette or do we have a composting toilet?
cassette.
We have a cassette
Yeah,
toilet. Okay.
pressurized vessel.
we did not
Pressurized.
realize the pressurized part.
So-
And one day, yes, I went in to go to the bathroom, and it just exploded, like Pete,
Yes.
just like exploded in my face.
Oh my god.
And that's happened a few times.
Yes.
And we finally figured out how to do it. And a little pro tip for everyone with those is
Yeah.
you do crack the valve open a little bit and keep
When
it
you
that
drive.
way. So when you
Right.
drive. So any
Yes.
temperature changes,
Nothing-
the pressure
yeah.
changes, going up
Fluctuation.
and down,
Yeah.
it won't blow up in your face.
And then our daughter came and van lifed with us this summer, and where were we? At the top of
we
the
were Olympic Peninsula.
Olympic Peninsula.
Okay.
I went all the way up to the top,
Yep.
and she said, "I'll be right out. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom," and it just didn't dawn on me.
To tell her about the
And I come in and she's crying, and it was
She's
just
all
like-
wet. Yeah, she peed at first and then opened it and it blew up.
Yeah.
So
I had to like wash her hair in the sink. It was a mess. It was
yeah,
a mess.
crack the valve and then use lithium white grease on it.
Okay.
To keep it from drying out. And
There you
breaking.
go.
So we got like 3 or 4 valves replaced under warranty
Wow.
because it just wouldn't work anymore.
What's the cassette toilet? Do you know the brand?
That's a Serene Life. I
Serene
think.
Life,
Yeah,
okay.
by
Or Serene Wave.
Serene something.
Serene
Okay.
something.
It's a 5-gallon one.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
go about a week with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the 2 of us using it. So
No,
He
no,
doesn't
I
use it
mostly
much,
go
yeah.
outside. So.
no horror stories with changing the cassette or deal besides it
Only that one
exploding?
time when
Only
I
the
had to
one
do
time.
it, and Bridget was there, and I was just like,
Yeah, they were both gagging. They had masks. They had COVID masks on, and they're still gagging and taking
bad.
breaks,
Yeah.
and stuff,
Rich is
dumping.
just
I was
in the
laughing
van
because I
laughing.
dump the toilet all the time,
time.
and I don't gag. and-
Yeah. You
I
get
didn't go on and on about it, but it was pretty funny. It's someone
Yeah.
else's poop, I guess, is different.
Yeah, that's true. But that's pretty funny. I mean, again, we everybody that brings up a cassette toilet, the stories are, for whatever reason, twice as bad as anybody else's. So the
Yeah,
cassette
it's
toilet
not for
seems to
everyone.
be the one that is not causes issues, but is fun or interesting to play with.
Yeah.
Maybe not fun's the right word, but
It's the
yeah.
closest thing to a regular toilet. It flushes with some water,
Correct.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't
There's
smell
no smell,
or
there's no
anything,
odor
so-
at all
Right.
with it.
Well, that's
So
good to
I'd
know.
recommend it
Yeah.
for that. But yeah, dumping it and maintaining it is
It's a
not for
challenge.
everybody.
Yeah. The little different. I will, as someone who owns a composting toilet, I'm a big fan of the composting
Yeah.
toilet. It's,
Yeah, we hear that.
It's very
Mhm.
nice. Okay. Describe the happiest and hardest moments of living your life on the road. Yeah.
Well, the happy one's easy. We kind of talked about that already.
Yeah,
Just
we
being
had a
able to-
really good. What? Go ahead. I don't know what you're
go
gonna
ahead,
say.
go ahead. No, after I'd say after the meetup in
Pride.
Shasta. Yeah, in Pride.
Shasta.
Yeah.
Pride.
Yeah,
Okay.
we met some really good people, and we hung out for like another 6 weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
And then we met up quite a few of them again near Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we went up to Mount Shasta
Yep.
with them.
Yep.
And traveled together again. Just had such a great time.
Yeah.
So
It's such a beautiful area.
it was
Mount
also nice to
Shasta's.
have our kids come out. We have
Nice.
a daughter and a son. They're grown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came out and spent a week with us separately.
Nice.
We were in the Rockies once with our son, and then we were, in Washington and Oregon with our daughter.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to be able to share that with them.
Yeah.
That was probably it. I'd say one of the hardest things was, I took the van somewhere we shouldn't have gone with the Sprinter. We
Okay.
went down this really washed out steep hill
Yeah.
to get to a really sweet spot
Yeah.
near Boulder,
Okay.
kind of that area
Yep.
in Colorado. And there's not a lot of good spots near Boulder. You got to go pretty far.
Yep.
So I went down this thing and then.
Are we talking
Uh,
toward Netherland? Like that direction?
Yeah, I think so. It was
Okay.
there. Yeah, it was in that area. And really, it was really for a Jeep. A 4x4 should have been on that road.
Yep.
I got down it fine, but then I didn't know how I was going to get back up it. It was the only way out.
Right.
And he didn't tell me that.
Right.
Yeah. So I
He
was
was, like, up
actually
all night.
I was up all night worrying about it.
Like, how am I going to turn
How
this
am I
thing
going to
around?
get this van? And we just had the van like it was our first year,
Okay.
so pretty inexperienced with it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know how we're going to get it back up the hill without tipping over. I thought
Yeah.
it was going to tip over.
And you
That's
knew
how bad
better
this
than to
road
tell me
was,
that.
Yeah.
So, but we powered through it. I found we kind of found a spot, got in between the ruts. We did 3-wheel it.
Yeah.
I had one wheel off the ground
Yep.
about a foot, and the thing was tipping like this.
Yep.
And
I walked.
But we made it through. Yeah, she walked it up. But luckily, it's got a creeping gear and a 4x4. So and then the locking wheels. You know, if the wheel gets off the ground, it locks. Gives traction and everything else. So
it works.
I'm really impressed with the van. I've really beat the shit out of it.
I've
it hasn't broken yet.
I've put Althea in some pretty precarious positions. For sure. So I have been impressed with the 4-wheel drive system. Actually, Chris and I just over there last week. Chris was like, "Go this way," and I was like, "Okay." And we were like, "No, we should not have gone this way."
That's why we let you guys scout.
And we turned around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I love it. Any happy or hard moments you wanna?
I was pretty devastated when he tore his foot.
Achilles.
I was because so my career was physical therapy.
Sure.
So I knew what we were in for. I knew it was going to be a long haul, and I knew I was going to have to drive the van. So I was very upset about that. That was emotionally tough, I think. And then we had to sit still. Like, we had to go back to my son's place when he could finally put weight on it just for a little while. And in the middle of winter, like, that's just, you don't want to be up there.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the snow and stuff.
So. I mean, maybe one of the happiest moments then is you learning how to drive the van.
No.
No?
I don't want to drive the van. I really don't.
I mean, she knows how to drive. She just doesn't want to.
Doesn't want
to.
Yes.
It's fair. I get it completely.
Yeah.
So.
It's all right.
But, I mean, having somebody along side by side, it makes for the long drives that much easier. So, you know, you're doing just as much not driving and probably being there for support along the way. So for sure.
Yes.
All right, last question. Question 10. In your own words, define #van life, and then offer one piece of advice you'd give to someone wanting to live a life on the road.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, like for me, #van life is not about the van. It's about community.
Yeah.
And
I always ask it as a kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of question because we all know it's not necessarily real. And what is it really about? You know. So.
Yeah, but that's how we find people. And for us, that social media is equally good and bad. But for us, that's what we needed to find the people that we find, and we find new people every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talk about it a lot in a sense that what you see on Instagram is very real. The photos in those places are very real. Mm-hmm. We go to those places all the time. Yeah. But that's not your daily life. Yeah. You know, and to your point, community is what it's all about, in the van life world, so to speak.
Yes. So. And it's choice. We have choice back.
Yeah.
And it's different perspective, and it's all those good things, but it's harder. Yeah. Because you can't just, flap on the couch and when you have a bad day and stuff. Yeah. So and that does happen. And I think for us, like the sad, the only parts that aren't good, and we haven't had a lot of these, but like when you're stuck in the van in the rain or something, you just can't drive out of the rain sometimes, and it does, the humidity creeps in, and that creeps into your soul a little bit, and that's a little rough.
Yeah, weather plays a very large part of our existence in the van world.
How many times a day do you check the weather, right?
Every single day.
Me too.
Like, it's nonstop. Yeah. And where am I going? What direction am I headed? Yep. And what am I driving into? Exactly. What am I parking into? I
probably should have checked it before you convinced me to come here, Ken.
Because it's a little chilly.
It's a little chilly.
It's elevation. We're up here.
Yeah, we're sitting at like 8,000 feet ish. Yeah. So it's not very warm, but I love this. I'm different from everybody. Everybody's going to Baja, so I get it.
Everybody's going to Baja.
Yeah. Rich, for you, #van life?
Yeah, I think #van life for me is about the diversity. Okay. Meeting people, getting out of your comfort zone. Because we're a cis hetero couple. And we've been exposed to not a lot of stuff in our life except whiteness, I guess. So it's nice to go out and see different people, different cultures. Mm-hmm. We appreciate coming out here and the land and everything.
Reconnecting.
Yeah,
kind of reconnecting with that. So that's what kind of means for me is I'm just glad to meet people and get the stories of the people. Talk to everyone. The first thing you ask is, where'd you come in from? And where'd you grow up, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just, we're meeting people from all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
what I like about it.
And that's a huge blessing in what we do and the lifestyle that we live is we see all these different places and get to experience all these different, cultures and locations and the people that have come along with them,
Yeah.
and that's really, again, doesn't get talked a lot about on social media, but once you experience this community and you're a part of it and you're traveling, you experience it every day.
Yeah, I think it kind of gives you humanity back
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were losing that.
Yeah.
Just, running that rat race for
Living in a city
for other
and-
people and not really living.
Yeah,
being isolated, because people live isolated lives in capitalism.
for sure.
It's individualism. It's you gotta really do all these different things to survive and all that. And out here, it's the pace is a little slower. It's
Yep.
less critical.
Yep.
That seems to
Far more open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people really are lifting each other up out here.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really like that.
Well, and that's again, it's been mentioned quite a few times on this show. And again, I don't care what level of van life you're in, from a homemade car to the biggest, baddest, expensive rig on the planet, you're gonna break down and you're gonna need help. And somebody, stranger, friend, fellow
Right.
van lifer, fellow nomadic, will help you. And
Yeah.
and it's been pretty amazing to see
Absolutely.
and be a part of. I mean, I've needed it. Everybody's
Yeah.
needed it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty awesome. A piece of advice for somebody wanting to live a life on the road?
Lock your van doors.
yeah,
Not
sleep-
because of the people, but we did have a bear in our van once.
Really?
Yep.
That's a fun
Um,
story.
We weren't in there, but luckily,
God.
yes.
Yeah.
But a bear
So there you go. That's
opens the door.
my
Okay.
best advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, always lock your doors when you sleep.
When you're in bear country.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Fair enough.
And have a plan. I don't hear a lot of horror stories about people
Yeah.
getting in any trouble or anyone messing with them, but it does happen.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
just be prepared for that.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
good advice. Lock your doors at night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And we to the point now where he says, "Doors locked," and I repeat, "Doors locked," like every night.
Yeah, it's a little
It's
ritual
become a
we
thing.
go through just to make sure.
It's awesome.
You
Make
don't want to
sure-
wake up in the middle of the night and think, did I lock the
Did I
door?
lock it?
Or
Trust
did-
me, I've done it. I
Yeah.
get it. Did I lock the door? I think the key's in the cup holder. Shit.
Yeah.
Did I lock the door?
Yeah, keep the keys back where
Back
you
where
sleep.
you sleep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
all the time.
All the
Yeah.
time. For
What
sure.
else? If you park nose up a couple inches, it helps with heartburn.
Yes.
For the
Yeah, I
older
like
crowd.
angled sleeping, so don't sleep with your head lower than your feet.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's an older thing, so
Yeah.
not everybody has to
Yeah.
worry about that.
I get it.
Hmm.
I get it.
Especially you drink a lot before bed, you eat a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all I got. What do you got?
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it?
The rest stuff's pretty cliche.
I love it.
so,
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about all the cliche stuff, but I like those answers better. Lock your doors, keep bears out.
Yes.
Yes.
That's an important one
advice.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, those are our 10 questions. Thank you guys so much for bearing the cold temperatures, but our view is
Yeah.
Yes.
well worth it.
Well worth it.
It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Starting to get some sunset going.
Yep, sun's going down, so we're gonna warm up in the van real quick,
Mm-hmm.
catch the sunset, and enjoy the rest of our evening. So, thank you guys so much, and we'll
Absolutely.
see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This will be in the outtakes because we're using a knife for a microphone. So yes,
Yes, van life hack.
exactly, van life hack. Exactly.
That cloud just blocked our cool sun.
I know, right? It's got like 10 degrees colder.
That was a tree falling.
Was it? Really?
That's what that was.
So it does make a sound.
It does make a sound.
Well, we heard it.
If a
so-
tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound?
We weren't there. We didn't see it happen.
That's right.
We heard
But
it.
we heard it.
Is that going to start off a chain reaction? We're going to go right off the cliff. It'll be on camera
It's
at
gonna
least.
be like